Very simple. We want to be able to create the core tension to accomplish this task at any point and work on these sit-ups, transitions forever. Today we are going to talk about 4 foundational core movements and why they are important for your overall athletic development. A couple of weeks ago, we released a core training program that had very specific design considerations. The program is meant to be a kicker. It's meant to sit on top of any other program, and all the movements are useful. It is meant to be done in the minimum amount of time, and it was originally designed for stunt guys who work on movies to do in their extremely tiny trailer right on the side of set. So the program uses 0 equipment so that you can do it absolutely anywhere. It's designed to be done inside of a fairly small space, and all the movements need to directly contribute to your overall ability to portray a superhero on film. Stunt guys are really the guys doing all that super cool stuff in movies, and they have to move better. All of their training has to be useful. One of the questions we had for this program is, what do you need to be able to do in order to do it? Because we label this as an intermediate program. 3 families of movements in it. It has what we consider aerial abs. It has a burpee or plank base as a second family of movement, and a Marshall Get-Up series of movements. The Marshall Get-Up movements are the biggest because that's the most complex. The aerial number of movements are smallest, but that is what the core movements are because that is the thing that's most challenging for most people. If you can do these movements, then you can start the ab program. If you cannot yet do these movements, then you should do training for deconditioned individuals, followed by intro to kettlebell, followed by the swing program, followed by the clean and press program. If you do that, then you will learn to fire your core enough to be able to do these movements. These are not crazy movements. They are the most basic movements in a series of families, and then in the program, they get more and more complex over time. The first movement we are going to talk about is a spinal rock. The spinal rock looks simple, but it is key to a ton of very advanced stuff. Lift the chest up, extend the spine, flex the spine, rock back, don't slam your skull into the ground, sit up, extend the spine. Flex, rock, sit up, eventually take your hands off, make your body into the shape of a C, and get all the way up. This movement looks easy, but the majority of people in the modern world have a hard time with this because we sit down all the time. If you have back pain, this is incredibly important. If you are making a thumping noise at the bottom, then you are not moving the lowest part of your spine. This becomes incredibly important because it builds into your basics of falling and rolling. The same side shoulder roll is one of your foundational movements for stunt performers because they are constantly getting thrown down to the ground and they have to do it thousands of times without getting hurt for both rehearsal and for then the shot. Same side shoulder roll, lead hand, same side leg, and coming all the way back up. Very simple, you should be able to do that cold, and that's all based on your body's ability to do this core engagement. The second exercise is the sit-up. Very simple. A sit-up is part of a get-up. It is part of a base switch. Getting all the way down to the ground, starting from ribs open, close the ribs, sit all the way up, extend the spine, get all the way down, get all the way up. When you become more advanced, you'll take out the head touch at the bottom to keep your head off the ground so you're learning to not slam your skull into the ground when you get flat backed in some type of throw or martial arts movement. The goal of the sit-up is to eventually build into base switches so that you can move quickly in some other way. All of your sit-ups, all of your spinal rocks are part of get-up families of movements, and there are a bunch of them. Krav Get-Ups, judo get-ups, prone get-ups, rolling get-ups, and what you might call technical stand-ups. You should be really good at those, and the sit-up is a core piece of all of that. The third exercise is the Pilates cross-touch. The important part about the Pilates cross-touch is your ability to maintain a perfectly straight leg. This is important for aerial engagement. I used to train in the circus and did aerial, so this is a core piece of training that you repeat for years and years at a time in order to activate your leg and your abs together so that you look good while doing circus arts. All the way down on the ground, one leg straight, other knee up, opposite elbow touches the knee, rotate the body. We are keeping our core up and engaged the entire time, squeezing at the top of our rib cage, side to side to side. The important part is when we hit this touch, this leg is perfectly straight and engaged. Our goal is to keep our core on. If you can get to that position, then you can start to build other types of aerial core training skills. If you can't do that here, then you get better at it by practicing something like kettlebell swings, where you practice straightening your legs a lot, and kettlebell clean and press, where you practice straightening your legs with your core in a cross-body, cross-firing position, a transverse abdominal load. The fourth movement is the V-up, opposite arm, opposite leg raise. Starting all the way open, hands on the ground, rib cage open. When we initiate the movement, we're going to close the rib cage, sit all the way up, touch across. Once again, a fundamental Pilates exercise in order to develop aerial abs. The problem most people will have is the sit-up part where they turn their body into a V shape. Most people will try to do this by just moving their hand and their foot, which is like a dead bug. Spinal rock is part of a fall, and you should be very good at it. When you lose your ability to do that, things start to go poorly very quickly. The sit-up is a basic movement that builds into a base switch. The third and fourth movement, the Pilates cross touch and the V-up opposite arm, opposite leg raise, are directly there to help you develop your aerial core strength. Aerial core is different than ground-based core. You're developing an ability to sit up in weird positions, but you need to have aerial control over your body. Very simple. We want to be able to create the core tension to accomplish this task at any point and work on these sit-ups, transitions forever. Aerial abs are key, but they are more advanced than most people will get to. When you think of aerial abs, think in CrossFit, it would be toes to bar, it would be pull overs, it would be circus exercises like skin the cat. If you're thinking about it from stunt work, then it is your ability to do wire work. Tons of action movies use wire work, and you should be developing your core for both falls and for flying, aerial abs where your feet are not on the ground. The program is specifically designed to be what we call a kicker. It can sit on top of any other type of training. If you're doing martial arts training, then this is a kicker. You can use it as a warm-up to activate your core. If you do BJJ, do it before class in order to optimize the way your core works before somebody tries to fold you up involuntarily. If you do bodybuilding, then this can sit at the beginning and the end of training, and you have enough workouts that they can sit on top of both of that. But we call them kickers because they are never the same, so you cannot adapt to them, but they're all useful movement. So they optimize your movement, they make you breathe better, you can't adapt to it. So side effect is they make you look good because you can't prepare for something you don't know is coming, but all the movements are useful. It can sit on top of CrossFit. You can do the 8-minute protocols just like you would do in CrossFit and take your 8-minute warm-up and make it 8 minutes of non-stop core training to activate your core before you start throwing around your barbells and doing your Metcons. If you're a circus performer, same thing. This will be a core activation and you should do it at the beginning of training. And if you're preparing for a performance, you do a different one at the beginning and at the end of training to optimize your look for a performance where you have to look really, really good. If you can do these 4 movements, then jump into the abs training. No matter what program you're on, it will work with it. If you can do these 4 core movements, then you can do the program.